Not
Yeah.
yet. Oh, there we
Okay.
go.
All right, you all can now see the screen?
Yes.
All right. So using the 2836 rule. So who can tell me what the 2836 rule means?
It's the debt to income ratio for housing needs and um, overall needs in general. So you have your housing costs and then everything else included.
Okay, so which one is your housing cost and which one's your everything?
The 28,036 is everything.
All right, good job. Okay, so utilizing the 2836 rule, if Marty's gross income is $5,500 a month, he would need to spend less than what in housing costs a month to qualify for most loans? And I'll do the calculation too.
Housing costs. See, this is where it be the questions that they be the way they word it. So I say B.
B?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and why B?
Because I multiplied 5,500 times 0.28.
All
I
right.
got 1,540.
Okay. And that would be the right answer.
See, this be one of the easy ones. It be them harder ones.
All right. So yeah, so you would multiply it by 0.28, which is 28%, and that would give you 1,540, which, lets you know that they have to spend less than that in housing costs a month to qualify for most loans because that's the 28. Let's see if I can speed through this. Making it easy. All right, so yeah, 5,528 B. So that's the answer. All right, we gotta skip ads. All right, so let's look at the second question. So gross income of $10,250 a month to qualify for most loans. What is the maximum monthly house payment Mason can make using 2836? So everyone just saw how we did that last one. So what's the calculation?
2870.
I'm sorry. No, what's the calculation? How do you come up with the answer?
Oh, the 10,250 times the 28% for.
Yep. So that gives you answer B, 2870. So calculating these are pretty easy.
Yeah.
The tricky part be where they say housing, because then they change it to total cost. So then you got to multiply that 36%, that 0.36.
Right.
So that's where I begin tripped up. I be misreading the question.
So here's just what you were talking about. So if Amanda's gross income is 8,550, she would need to spend less than what in total household debt to qualify for most loans using the 2836 rule. So this time you would multiply it by 36 because housing income or housing cost is the 28, total debt is the 36. So just pay attention to how they're wording it and what they're asking you. So if it's just on the housing cost, it has to be less than 28%. If it's total debt, it has to be less than 36%. On a side note, why is that important? What does that prevent?
Missing the payment.
Yeah.
Well, and the lender won't give you more than that bracket for each side. They're not going to give you the loan if those percentages are more, unless it's a different type of loan, like VA or whatever the case. But in this instance, they wouldn't give it to you.
Right. And it's so you don't miss that payment. It's so you don't foreclose on the property. It's so that you're not overextended. All right. So Mr. Wilson is looking for a new home. His gross income is $7,000 a month, and he has no idea what he can afford as he's just moved across the state. He finds 4 homes he likes, each varying in price. The first home he likes costs $800 a month, the second $1,000 a month, the third $2,225 a month, and the fourth is $2,500 a month. All of the home costs are total housing costs, principals, interest, taxes, and insurance. Utilizing the, everyone know what PITI stands for?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Utilizing the 2836 rule, which of the following houses would Mr. Wilson most likely be able to afford?
See?
So you guys can put it in the chat for the people who aren't talking out loud. Did I hear C?
Yeah, I think C.
Okay. So we know his gross income is 7,000. So it's asking the same question as it was asking before, and that's just the housing cost. So it's still the 28%. It's not total debt, because total debt means all of the credit cards, everything else. Housing costs would actually be 1960 on that. So which ones would, only ones that are lower than 1960 would qualify. So it would actually be A, the first or second house. Because you still take that 7,000, multiply it by 0.28, and that's what's going to give you your qualifier. So anything under that amount he can afford. Anything over that amount he would no longer qualify for. And remember, total housing cost.
It's the total housing. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
total,
yeah, because if the total is 2,750, if the fourth house is 2,500, wouldn't he still qualify? What did I
how is
miss?
the total 2,750?
Oh, wait. You said the 7,000 a month for the income times
0.28.
0.28. Oh, 1960. Yeah. I pushed the
Right.
wrong button.
Okay. All right. All right. So, hang on. It's a problem with YouTube. I don't pay for the no ads YouTube. All right. Assuming there are no extra fees and the broker is representing the buyer and the seller, what was the final sales price of a property if the commission rate was 6% and the broker received $24,000? Can anyone tell me the formula? We don't have to know the answer. What's the formula? How do you get there?
I think it's 24,000 divided by 0.06.
Yeah,
That would be correct. So yeah, 24,000 divided by 0.06 will give you the total amount, which is D, 400,000. So the reason you're doing that is you would take 6%, you would take 6% times 400,000 to get 24,000. So you do the opposite, you divide it from the other side. So if you're trying to get to the answer from the other side, you would divide 24,000 by the 6% to give you the total price of the property. And here's how that looks. 24,000 divided by 0.06. All right. Assuming there are no extra fees and the broker is representing the buyer and the seller, what was the final sales price of a property if the commission rate was 5.25 and the broker received 8,000? So same math. A, B, C, or D, using that same math. Good job, Kev.
C.
Yep. So yeah, you'd still take 8,000 divided by 0.0525 or 525% if you have a percentage calculator. And then that would give you the answer, round it to the nearest, is C. All right. Find the annual gross rent multiplier. So this is a fun one. A 9-unit building in Cleveland, Ohio, with an asking price of $2 million and gross annual rents of $105,000. Round to the nearest hundred. So here's your equation. Gross rent multiplier equals price divided by gross rental income. So price divided by income. And I said 200,000 is 2 million. So what's your GRM on this one?
19. $19.05.
Yep. So taking 2 million divided by 105 gives you that 1905. So let's do it again. A 10-unit building in Dallas, Texas, with an asking price of $5 million and a gross annual rent of $225. What do we come up with? Remember, price divided by rent.
$2.22.
Yep, 22.22.
Oh, I must have left off some zeros.
Let me make sure. Make sure I did it right.
Oh, yeah.
5 million.
22.22. Yeah, I did leave off. I did leave off a zero for real.
All right. All right. So moving on. So you've got that math. Let's go to the next one. All right, 4-unit building in Detroit, 300,000, gross annual rent of 25,000. A, B, C, or D? Kevin's got the math down.
$12. That's what I got.
All right, good job, A. All right, an agent is going to receive a 50% share of a 3% gross commission. The property sold for $350,000. How much commission will the agent receive? Now, this is a common equation for calculating referrals. So yeah. You got it, Sharita?
Yeah.
What's the answer?
A.
Yep. All right. So you take 350,000 times 0.03 and then take half of that, and that's your commission. All right, during the listing agreement, a commission of 6% is established. The house sold for $450,000. What's the commission? So I feel like these aren't the ones that you guys are going to have trouble with. Let me see if I can get to any like real.
Yeah, it'd be like calculate the cost per square footage or converting the cubic feet from square foot. Is that really all on the exam? I don't know.
So here's the thing. If you can, the portions of the exam, if you can get contracts, finances, general principles, and practice real estate down, that's 53 of the 80 questions in the national. So, I mean, you need a 70 to pass. If you can lock those down, you won't really have to know a lot of math. You will have to know some. So you just need to get some of the math right. But if you can lock those 4 categories down, then that's going to be the majority of it. And same thing on the state. The state is mainly license laws and regulations and brokerage relationships. That's 30 of the 40 questions. So if an agent was to receive a 35% share of the sales proceeds, all right, this is still the same kind of question. Let's move on. Let's see what this is. Oh, here we go. A property's market value is $250,000. The assessment rate for the house is 15% with 27.5 mils. Find the annual property tax. You won't see a lot of these, and you will see them. So remember, we're looking for annual property tax. And the way that works out is this. So 250,000 times 0.15. And that's your, that gives you 37,500 because you're taking the assessment rate for the house, 15%, and that gives you 37.5. And then you go with the 27.5 mils. And so you're adding. Now you're going to take that 37.5 by multiplying it by 0.02750. And that gives you your answer. So again, the assessment rate is 15. So you would get the assessment first. And you would say 15% of 250 is 37.5. Then you would multiply that by the 27.5 mils. And you're going to take that, since it's mils, you're going to move that decimal place over 4 places essentially. And so you multiply it by, think of it as a percentage. Well, not even percentage, 4 places. So it's 0.02750. So Kevin, I see that's one to work on, figuring out the values here. Does everybody kind of understand this one? Because this is the way you do that math right here. All right, so let's look at another one like that. We're going to find the annual property taxes. So this one's market value is $350,000. So the assessment is 25%, and again, it's 27.5 mil. So what's the answer on this one? All right. Excellent. B, correct. And sorry for misrepresenting you, Kevin. I didn't realize that was your answer for the previous one. So again, here's the math. So 350,000 times 25%, 87.5, 87.5 by 0.02750. So on the mills, you're moving it over 4 decimal places. And that gives you 2406.25, and there's your answer.
A quick question.
Yeah.
I don't usually move my decimal point with the meals. I just make sure I divide by 1,000. Is that safe or?
That's safe. You're doing the same thing.
Okay, fair enough.
We're going to skip that one. Let's see what this one. All right. Property's market value is $400,000. The assessment for the house is 25, and it's 22.75 mils, and a $30,000 property tax deduction. All right, so we know that the first part is this. Now we have the $300,000 property tax deduction. So who can tell me where that comes out?
So
Where do you take the deduction out?
Oh, good question. I don't know.
Do we take it off the 100,000 after we get that answer?
Yep, you would take it off the 100,000 because that's the assessment. Yep.
Oh, okay.
So that's the assessed value. So you take it off the 100,000, and that gives you 70. And then that's when you multiply it by the 0.0275. Or the 2275, sorry. 0.02275. So yeah, so remember, if there's a deduction, it's coming off after the assessment. So it's not off the value of the property, it's off the assessed value. And so that's where the deduction comes from. All right, so here's another one. Now, who can walk me through how to do this math? So just take me step by step on how to do the math. We don't need the answer. Just what's the formula to get to the answer?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, you got $500,000. You want to multiply that by 25%, and you're gonna get whatever number that is. Whatever number is, you want to subtract $25,000 from it. You're gonna have that number. Now you take 55.75 mils and divide that by 1,000. That's you the percent number. Take that percent number, multiply by that by the first number you just got, and that's how you're gonna get the answer.
That is correct. Way to go. All right. The value of a property is $180,000 today. What was the original cost of the property if it has lost 20% of its value over the past 3 years? Thought this was going to be actually a harder question.
I'm like coming up with 216. My numbers is off.
So let's look at it this way. 100% minus 20 is what? So we know that 180,000 is 80% of whatever number that is, right? So if we take 180,000 and we say divided by 0.8, so 100% minus 20 is 80%. 180,000 divided by, we got to actually watch this one apparently. Oh, there we go. All right. So divided by 0.8 gets you 225.
Where you get 8 from? Oh.
So 100% minus 20% is 80%.
Oh, okay. Right.
So we know that 180,000 is 80% of the total value. So 80% of 225 is 180. So if we know that it lost 20%, we know that that number represents 80% of the final number. So that's where I got that from. I took the 100%, figured out the difference, it became 80. I took the 180 divided by 0.8 to get to 225. Does that make sense? Do you follow the reasoning behind that math?
So we got to look at the big picture first, basically, because this be tripping me
Right.
up too. So like,
So-
okay. Say
Yeah,
it
so we
again,
know the
and then-
final answer is
yeah.
100%.
Right.
So the
Because
final
20%
answer is
is
100%.
gone.
Yeah, 20% is gone. So we know that 180 is 80%. So then we say, okay, well, if it's 80%, if we divide by that 80%, then we get our number. Yeah, and that's why I thought the 3 years, that's why I thought it was going to be a harder question, because I thought they were going to give you like a percent every year for the 3 years, and you'd have to figure out the step down percentage, but it was just 20% total. So again, watch how they ask the questions, because sometimes they will give you a step up or step down percentage, but this was just a total percentage. So same thing here. Robin bought her home 5 years ago for $190,000. She sold her home last month for $199,000. How much did the house appreciate? That's a simple one. So, yep, $9,000. It went up $9,000. So appreciation is rise in value. The value of a property is $91,000 today. What was the original cost of the property if it had lost 35% of its value over the past 5 years? So remember that equation we just did. So $91,000 today, and it's lost 35%. So what's the first thing we're going to do?
100% minus 35%.
Yep. So 100 minus 35, and that gives you 65%. So you're going to take 91,000 and do what with it?
Multiply by 0.65. No.
Are you going to multiply it?
No, you're going to divide it.
Right. You're going to divide it. And that's going to give you that 140,000. So again, here's the equation. 100% minus 35 equals 65, which is, and then you take that 91,000 and then you divide it by 0.65 to give you 140. A lot purchased 25 years ago for 40,000 has appreciated a total of 45% since its purchase. What is it worth today?
Mm.
Meant to hit only C. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So that's right. And here's why. So you would take 100% plus 45 is 145%. And then you take that 40,000 times 1.45 to equal 58,000. Now, if you wanted to do it another way, you could say 45% of 40,000 is 18,000, and then add it to 40,000.
Okay.
So you can
That's
do it
how I
that
got
way.
mine. Yeah, I
Yeah,
did
you
mine
can do
that
it that
second
way,
way.
or you can do it this way and just say it's 100. It's appreciated 145%. So you take the 1, which is going to give you the 40, and then add the 45% to give you the 18, and then that'll give you the final number. So if you know if it's appreciated, it's a 1, you know, put a 1 in front of it. And if it's depreciated, you subtract it out and do the division. So that's still the same. All right, let's go to another one. What is the interest rate on a $150,000 loan that requires an annual interest payment of $6,500? Kevin's going quick. So I'm going to show you the math on it. So you're going to take the annual interest loan, so it's the annual interest divided by the loan, so it equals the interest percentage. So 6,500 divided by 150 gives you the 0.0433. Convert that into a percentage, 4.3%.
See, I'll be confusing it. I was dividing 150 by 6,500, but was inverted. Like I can't remember
Right.
that. But nothing.
So yeah, so when you're looking for percentages, typically it's going to be unless you know that the payment is the smaller of the two. You're going to take that payment and divide it by the total, and then that's going to give you the interest rate. So it's the smaller thing divided by the larger thing gives you the percentage difference between the two. Because remember, we're looking for the percentage of the percent. 6,500 represents a percentage, so we know if it was larger, then it would be different if it was like, 650,000 out of 150,000. But since it's only, because then you're talking over 100%. So we know that it's the smaller number because it's those, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that gives you a clue that you're supposed to divide the smaller number by the larger number when the percentage numbers are smaller, because if you're dividing a larger number, then it would be over 100% or 1,000% of something, right? So let the answers sometimes give you a clue as to which way to do the math on the question. So on this one, you've got to answer 4%. So what's the math? Which way do you do it?
8,000 divided by 200,000. Yeah.
Yep.
Question. So when we do this math portion, do they allow you to bring your own financial calculator, or do you got to use the one on the computer?
I think they give you one. I forget how it works, but you either have one on the computer or they give you one.
Okay.
But I don't think you're allowed. You might be able to bring a basic calculator. I don't remember. I know they have one on the computer though.
Okay.
So there is a calculator on the computer. But as long as you can't like have answers or it's not programmable or anything like that,
Yeah, this is just a HP10B financial calculator.
Yeah,
But
you wouldn't be able to
you
bring. I don't think you'd
can't
be able to
use that,
bring
huh?
that
Yeah.
because you can
Okay.
put
I
equations.
could amortize loans and everything on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. What is the annual interest rate on a $10,000 loan that requires a semi-annual interest payment of $450?
4.5. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Read the question. Make sure you're looking at the questions thoroughly.
Semi-annual.
So what does that mean?
Oh, that's twice a year.
Right.
So we got to add it together then. See, tricky, tricky.
So yeah, you're looking at the 9%.
Yep. Semi-annual.
All right. What is the annual interest rate on an $80,000 loan that requires a semi-annual interest payment of $1,000?
$2.5.
Yep. And what most people would give for a 2.5 loan right now? All right, we got to watch this one apparently. All right, so let's go to a different one. A lot in a subdivision is being sold for $5 per square foot. It is 100 feet wide and 100. These are the ones you were asking about. All right, so here we go.
Did you see? I got so sad right now. I just got so depressed.
It's 100 feet wide and 120 feet deep. How much does the lot cost? So, Marquita, walk me through the math.
Well, I'm up here writing the question down because I'm gonna have to revert back to this. But this is the portion that I hate. So I know the square foot. So length and depth, I don't know. Just walk me through it. I don't even want to just get all flustered. This is the one.
All right.
This is the one I'm gonna get wrong.
Well, no, you're going to get it right. And here's
Okay.
why. You got 100 feet wide and 120 feet deep. So we know if you take those, think of them as squares, right? So you got 100 squares across and 120 squares down. So you're going to multiply that 100 by the 120, and that's going to give you the amount of square footage.
Okay. So we got that.
Because there are 100 squares times 120, and then you got that. And now you're going to take that 5, and we know it's $5 per square foot. So we have the amount of square feet. So now we just take that 5 and multiply it by the square feet. And what do you get?
60,000.
All right, let's see. So here we go. 60,000. 100 feet times 120 feet times 5, 60,000. All right, so let's do it again. A lot in a subdivision being sold for $8 per square foot, 200 feet wide and 400 feet deep. How much does the lot cost?
$640,000. So what's the difference between the feet wide and feet deep and frontage space? Because I think when they be throwing that frontage in there, then I really get all messed up.
So frontage just, what's that?
Nothing.
Somebody else explaining? Sharita, you got this?
Teach
I
me,
thought it
Sharita.
was the front. I thought it was the frontage. You only use the front number.
Yeah, so if they're talking about frontage, they're talking about whatever runs along the front of the property.
Right.
So you can say it has a frontage of this and then still get the depth and all that other stuff. But frontage is just another way to say which side it's on. So frontage means it fronts the street, or river frontage, or what, you know, any kind of water frontage, whatever they're talking about that it touches up against.
So is that not included in the equation when you working a problem out? Do you ignore that
Not
number
really.
and
It's just
calculate everything else?
frontage is just a descriptor. So it just describes which side of the property or where it is. So you've got road frontage, you've got river frontage, you've got lake frontage. You know, it's just whatever side that is. You know, because lake frontage and river frontage could be in the back. It doesn't have to necessarily be in the front. It's
Right.
just wherever the property is butts up against.
Okay.
And you were right, 640. Okay. A lot in a subdivision costs 300,000. It is 100 feet wide and 150 feet deep. How much is the price per square foot? So they want you to work it backwards.
$20.
There you go. $20.
But I had
You
to
take
keep fooling it. So I first divided 15,000 by 300. Then I flipped it around. I'm like, wait, none of those answers match. Like, what the heck?
Yep. So you take 300,000 divided by the 15.
Okay.
All right. What is the price per square foot square front foot? Here's where you were talking about you get messed up. So what is the price per square front foot for a 50-foot wide and 100-foot long lot that's sold for $75,000?
$1,500. I don't know, man. I think that's right. I
All
think
right.
you
So
do. Yeah.
here's the math.
Okay.
So you take the 75,000, divide it by 50. So that's the front footage, right?
So that's when she said only use the front. Okay.
Right. So since it's the front foot, you're only taking the 75,000 divided by the front footage. So if you're, you know, and a lot of times when you're talking about the square front footage, that's usually like if it's up against a major road or anything like that, where that's the most important frontage that matters. So a lot of times your commercial properties will use that kind of math. Lake properties, things like that, that have a front footage that makes the most, you know, that's really what you're paying for, is whatever it's up against. All right, so let's do it again. Judy is considering buying a lakefront property. She learns that a property there just sold for $550,000 and had frontage on the lake totaling 550 feet. How much did the property sell per front foot?
be.
That's right, 1,000. Easy math. 550 divided by 550. So 1,000. And
So
again,
since
just
they
like we
totaled
said,
it and didn't split it out, we're using the whole amount. But if they specifically say the front, then we only using the first number.
right, you're only using the frontage number. So whatever
Right.
the frontage is. So again, when we talk about lakefront or anything like that, things that are important, the reason people are buying that property, that's how you do that math. All right. So that was basic math. And we're coming up on 5 minutes to the end. So that was kind of your basic math on how to do those equations. Was that helpful for you, Sharita?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And there are other math terms. We don't have time to get into like cap rate and all that stuff. Maybe next week we can look at like investment and like how to handle net operating expenses, and net income and all that. So any questions for me in the last 5 minutes? This could be a round robin on real estate in general or the exam or anything you want to talk about. Working with a brokerage, expenses you might see, things you might encounter in real estate. Any questions?
My transcripts came today. Got them.
Yay!
I'm like, yeah. Ouch. Sorry, y'all. I'm hitting my funny bone. Ooh, Lord.
Hey, I got faith in you, Kevin. You've been on these study sessions. You're getting all the answers. Yeah, I got you. You're going to pass.
Thank you for the study session. It's my first one. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we're here to help, and if you tell us there's some sections that you want help with, then that's what we'll work on. And everyone benefits because, everyone has questions about certain things. And even if we stick with one topic for a whole study session or bounce around, everybody gets a chance to learn. And so, so this is why we do it.
Question. Your name says Keller Williams. Are you Eddie?
I am Eddie.
Okay, just checking. Just double checking. Thank you.
Yes, I'm Eddie. I'm using the KW's Zoom. So, as Director of Growth for the Market Center, we record these. So you do have access to previously recorded ones too. So you not only get the current study session, you can go back and look at other study sessions. So feel free to peruse those. And, we do a lot of Kahoot. And, before that, we were doing some other things as far as like just going through the actual CompuGrammer. So there are a lot of them that you can go back and look at.
Where do we access those?
There's a link, and I can let me get that for you. Hang on a second. I'll put it in the chat.
Since I just got my transcripts and stuff, will I have access to that, or is it for everyone? Because we're still kind of in the very beginning stages, you and I.
You can use that. I mean,
Okay. I didn't know if I had to be already fully, signed everything in order to access.
No, because
that
here's
or
the
not.
thing: you're not going to be fully signed to everything anyway.
Okay.
Because you're just getting sponsorship at this point. You're not officially in KW or anything like that until after you pass the exam. So that's the recordings of the previous study sessions there. So you can click on that YouTube link and that'll take you to it.